Welcome to another F1 2018 video. Today we're going to be comparing the best versus the worst car in the game and seeing the big comparisons between the two. So, you may be wondering why I'm in the Mercedes, not the Ferrari. It's very hard to decide which one out between the two of them is the fastest car in the game. As I was around Austria, I went and looked at what started on pole position, and that was the Mercedes for this event, so I decided to go for the Mercedes around Austria. And as for the slowest car for the majority of the season has been the Williams. So in today's video we'll be comparing the Mercedes versus the Williams. If you'd like me to compare the Ferrari versus maybe another car, for example maybe the McLaren, we could do that maybe at Monza for example, the fastest versus the slowest car in the game. That might be something interesting we could do as well. But for today's video we're going to be looking at the Mercedes versus the Williams, and it's also interesting because they're both powered by the Mercedes power unit, which should make for some interesting comparisons. So before I start this video properly, I should say I am not a racing god. I'm not the best driver in the world, but the fact that I'm still the same driver doing both of these laps means that it's somewhat easy to compare between them still, because I'm still the same driver and I still know the track, I still know the cars reasonably well. Just because I'm not outright crazy fast, it doesn't mean that this whole test is invalidated. So there is my Mercedes lap. Now let's have a look at my Williams lap here today. So of course we expect this Williams lap to be slower. I did these Williams laps afterwards, and surprisingly I must have just learnt a bit more through turn 1, because I was actually a little bit faster through turn 1 in the Williams, but quite quickly it's evident that the Williams is not as quick in a straight line as the Mercedes, and as we get onto the straight we're already a few tenths down. If you look in the top right, that's a live comparison between my Williams lap time that I'm on and my fastest Mercedes lap time, because they're all done in sort of the same session. I switched cars halfway through, so I haven't done 22 laps in this Williams. I've done about half of them, but about 10 laps I think so far. I think this is my 10th lap in this Williams, as I did 12 laps in the Mercedes. My last lap in the Mercedes was my fastest. So through the long, fast, double left hand, this is going to be one of the comparison points in this video. We'll see later on. We'll do some freeze framing and seeing the miles per hour, sorry, the kilometers an hour I should say, through certain parts of the track. I am going to stay with kilometers an hour I think for career mode on YouTube, because that's what the majority of the world uses by the look of it. Every single comment seems to say I should use kilometers an hour, even though I personally use miles an hour because that's what we use in England. I'll go with kilometers an hour just because it's easier for the worldwide audience. So across the line, and you can see a little bit slower than the Mercedes lap, or quite a significant amount slower than the Mercedes lap. So let's have a look at these side by side, or above and below. So down the main straight, we'll cross on the line at exactly the same point here, down to turn 1. As I said, surprisingly, I did take a bit more speed through turn 1 in the Williams, and that's because I had a bit of a wider line through the corner. A little bit more experience in the cars in the Williams might mean that, if anything, the Williams is slightly faster than I'd have been in the Mercedes, because I've got a bit more experience. But on the brakes, you can already see a slight difference. The Mercedes is just ahead. It's quite close at this stage here, but the lack of grip in the Williams means on exit, I try to apply the same amount of pressure through the throttle. I get a bit sideways on the exit of the corner, meaning the Williams has lost quite a lot of time as we head into the right hander here. Is this turn 3 I guess technically? And as we accelerate away now, we're starting to see the gap between the two is starting to grow quite significantly at this point. And as we go through the double left-hander here, the Mercedes is definitely pulling out a lead. This is where the downforce of the Mercedes is king and pulling out on the Williams, which is really struggling through this part of the lap. And towards the last couple of corners as well, the Williams is still going to be struggling because the car just doesn't have the downforce or even the top end speed that the Mercedes does. So around the last corner for the Mercedes, a few seconds later for the Williams, and up to the start finish line, and that's the comparison of the two lap times there. And as you can see there, it was nearly 2 seconds between them. So now let's compare. So we're going to look here for the top speed at the end of the second straight here, and for the Mercedes here we're hitting 321 kilometers an hour. In 8th gear, hitting 11,000 revs. That's going to be pretty similar for both of them, but it's quite evident here, because even if I had a slightly worse run through the first corner in the Mercedes, but I still was faster by the end of the straight than the Williams, because that was hitting 319 kilometers an hour, but revving just slightly higher. And of course we're using DRS on both of those as well. Of course, more DRS zones in F1 2018 is going to make that a bit of a challenge. Now we're going to look at acceleration out of turn 2, or what I would say is turn 2. And at this white line, I'm hitting 168 kilometers an hour in the Mercedes in 4th gear. Now this is when I had a bit of a twitch in the Williams, meaning of course I'm not going to be quite as quick out of there. And I'm just shifting through third to fourth here in the Williams as I didn't get such a good exit, and 160 kilometers an hour. So not massively different, but still a difference there, that's for sure, between the two cars, obviously on the exit of the corner. And you can see at this stage we're already 2 temps down. As we go into the next corner here, you can see this is sort of the apex speed, I guess you'd say. And I guess you'd say this is a medium speed corner because you're shifting through in third gear. It's not as slow a corner as it may have been in the past. So we're hitting 112 kilometers an hour through here in the Mercedes, and if we compare that to the Williams, 6 kilometers an hour slower, 106 kilometers an hour there for the Williams. So I'd say that's quite drastic, and obviously shows in the next part of the lap here. This is where it really starts to show the difference between the two cars in terms of downforce levels, because another apex speed here, this is a high speed apex, or high speed corner I should say, and obviously you're going through the corner at quite a high speed, and having downforce at this point is key. So this is where the Mercedes is going to really be pulling out over the Williams, and you can see here, well, it's quite drastic here, the speed you're having to take through the corner. I mean, this might be slightly exaggerated, I guess, because maybe I'm not so confident in the Williams, but that is one of the clearest examples of the difference in speed there between the two. So much more grip in the Mercedes that you can sort of throw it through the corner and be happy with it. But in the Williams, you're really struggling. The penultimate corner, 233 kilometers an hour for the Mercedes as we go under the shadow of the bridge. That was my comparison point for this part. And 6th gear, 233 kilometers an hour, which, okay, I know once again I'm not a racing god, but it's still pretty quick for me. And over 10 kilometers an hour slower in the Williams there once again, and obviously further from the apex as well, just showing that the car just doesn't have the grip that the Mercedes does. So really interesting comparison points here, and we're also going to go and look at the final corner and the top speed at the finish line, start-finish line. So at the final corner, we're hitting 171 kilometers an hour as we're parallel to that yellow sausage curb in this Mercedes. Just the grip in this car is quite phenomenal. I guess it's probably going to be very similar in the Ferrari as well. That's why I was sort of torn between the two, as like, which one do I go with here, because they're both going to be very, very good. So I guess I just went with this one because it was the one that set pole position. And once again, a significant amount slower in the Williams here at 166 kilometers an hour here. And it even suggests the shifting up to 5th gear through there, but I don't know, personally I feel that I was probably more suited going through there in 4th gear. 5th gear might have just not left it such a good run out of the corner, but the game probably knows better than me. So now for the run up to the start finish line, this is a screenshot taken just as we're about to hit over the start finish line. So this is looking at the sort of, I guess, the momentum taken through the corner and the short run up to the start finish line. So in the Mercedes it's 288 kilometers an hour, which will be compared to the Williams in a second here. So 288 for the Mercedes and 285 for the Williams. So not that much difference there. So that's not too shabby actually for the Williams, which is quite surprising. Of all the corners, it didn't deal too badly through the run through the final corner. Of course, the DRS is probably keeping them pretty equal as well at this stage of the lap. So that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Of course, that's just a little example of showing how much faster the Mercedes is through certain parts of the track. Once again, I do know I'm not the fastest driver in the world, but I'm the same driver, so comparison videos are probably one of the things I can do quite well actually, because obviously I'm still the same driver and I'm not going to be drastically different from lap to lap. So there we are. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please let me know in the comment section down below if there's any particular videos you would like to see me upload on this channel. I am away for the next couple of days, but I have recorded a few videos, so yeah, those will go up over the next couple of days, and of course any suggestions they will be recorded thereafter. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new, all that sort of good stuff. Like the video, and I'm going to leave you with a comparison between the two laps here side by side with none of me chatting, so you can listen to the audio as well. So thanks for watching. Goodbye. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please remember to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and keep up to date on social media. It's @AlexZiafro on Instagram and Twitter. So be sure to tune into those social channels and YouTube over the next couple of days, because more content is coming. Thanks for watching. It's been Axmadi.